Good morning, everyone. It's Sal, Stretford Post. How you doing? I hope you're doing well, and welcome to another episode of Breaking Dawn. I hope you're doing good. I hope you're doing fine. Thank you, guys, for joining me this morning. Of course, guys, on what is match day? Big game today, guys, against Leeds United at Ellen Road, guys. Some are saying it is a must-win. Some are saying it's Ruben Amorim's last game. So, I mean, there's so many rumours going around at the moment. In particular, the current quotes that have come out from Ruben Amorim, which are very telling. And has Ruben Amorim exposed the Glazers and Ineos, guys? I'm going to get into that. Before I start, please don't forget to smash a like, guys, on the video. Don't forget to subscribe as well, guys, if you're new. And please don't forget to put your notifications on. Thank you so much, you absolute legends. Now, let's get firstly into those comments from Ruben Amorim. Of course, Ruben Amorim spoke in the presser yesterday in regards to the formation. He was asked the same questions again and again and again. He always gets asked the same bloody questions, doesn't he, about the formation, the tactics. And basically, he just said that in a nutshell, that they're not going to fund him. Basically, they're not going to fund his project. It's a bit like that, isn't it? And this has exposed it. He said, you're a smart guy. You know what's going on. In regards to Jason Wilcox, in regards to Ineos, I mean, it's an absolute disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace that they brought this manager in. They knew what tactics this manager plays. They knew the style of football. They knew everything about this manager, and they're not backing him. They're not funding it. You know, absolute pathetic, absolute shambles. Exactly that. And those people who want to cling on to the Ineos and back them, you know, there you go. Ruben Amorim, in his own words, has just clarified for you exactly, indirectly, what we've been talking about for months and months and weeks about this inept, incompetent board that should not have taken Manchester United on a vanity project. It should have been left to a full sale with people who actually got money, you know, like Qatar, you know, not pretend money at the end of the day, or stingy people who don't want to spend any money. That's what it is at the end of the day. What Ruben Amorim is doing right now, he's been thrown right under the bus, being left with a depleted squad, a squad that was depleted, that we predicted would happen in the summer, given we knew the AFCON was on. We knew what was going on with the AFCON. We knew we're going to lose certain players and stuff like that, not to mention injuries as well, which we've been speaking about quite intensively as well and predicted, guys. Lo and behold, it doesn't take a rocket scientist, does it, to know that injuries happen at Manchester United a lot. You know, so here we are, guys. A game against Leeds, and we got questions about Ruben Amorim. We got toxicity going on at the moment in regards to Ineos and Ruben Amorim. Does it look like the beginning or the end for Ruben? Does it look like the beginning or the end? Now, it probably is. It probably is the beginning of the end. It probably is over. But Ineos, guys, they need to get out of our football club. Ineos, and because I'm telling you now, I never thought I would place the Glazers and Ineos in one bracket and you know, put them in the same sort of circle as the same sort of beast, if you know what I mean. But they are. They're exactly the same. They're no different to the Glazers. And they both need to leave this football club, need to get out of our football club, the vanity project, the lies, the manipulation, the indirect, slandering of this football club in regards to not backing this manager, bringing a manager with a distinctive style of play and not backing him. Absolutely disgraceful. I would say fair play to Ruben Amorim. He bit back yesterday. If I was Ruben Amorim, let me tell you something, what I would do right now, guys. Resign, expose the board, tell them they're useless, say whatever you want. Do it, Ruben. I know you want to do it and walk out of that football club. You'll walk out a hero. Trust me, you would. You know what I mean? Because at the moment, Ruben Amorim is on a road to nowhere. He's on a road to nowhere. He's not getting anywhere. He's not getting backed to the level that it needs to be backed. Teams are improving around him. And you know what? We're just like twiddling our thumbs thinking, oh, you know what? You could get into Champions League with that squad. Of course you can. Oh, no, we can't. No, we can't. Not when Arsenal are playing like they're playing Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, you know, and the teams around that. They're going to be winning games. Aston Villa. You know, I don't want to hear it, guys. At the end of the day, the Ineos have been exposed. They were exposed yesterday. And I'm telling you right now that they need to lead the football club. Jason Wilcox, an average Charlie player at Blackburn Rovers, an average player, mate, right, at Blackburn Rovers. I don't know what knowledge this guy has about football, but certainly zero at the moment, the way he's going on. And obviously Vivel and things like overrated people at our football club. Bloody get me at the football club. I'll tell you how to bloody find some good players at a budget, mate. I found some already last night. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, guys, look, you know, it is another day, another circus at Man United, another, madness, because we are a mad club. We are a mad club. Everything is Always news at Man United. Of course, it's always news at Man United. But one thing I do feel at the moment is the overriding sympathy for Ruben Amorim. I do. I feel sympathy for him, and I feel disgraced by this club. I do. I feel not this club, so to speak, but the ownership of this club. They do not represent this club at all. The Glazers and Ineos absolutely thrown him under the bus. They've thrown him into the Sharks. All that in one bundle. They've done that, and it is an absolute disgrace. I just want to say that Ineos, you are an absolute disgrace. You are not liked. You're not liked by real Man United fans. You're not wanted by real Man United fans. And we said this at the beginning of their tenure before they came into the football club. You're just a Werther's original sucking Mason from England that, you know what, has been favoured your whole life, Jim Ratcliffe. And that is all you are, mate, right? And that is it. At the end of the day, right? And you're not a Man United fan. You've never been a Man United fan. There's no evidence of you being a Man United fan. So stop it. You're a liar, a manipulator, guys. And I'm tired of them, to be honest with you. And this is going to happen with another manager. Don't get it twisted, guys. This will happen to another manager as well. Ruben Amorim will walk or leave or get sacked. And another manager will come in and it'll be exactly the same old story. Exactly the same old nonsense. It's going to be the same old cycle repeated, guys. You know what I mean? Just a little bit of history repeated. That's exactly what it's going to be, guys. And you know what? Ruben, do it for your career, mate. Leave Man United and go elsewhere and be successful. Because at the end of the day, this club doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. I'll be honest. You know what I mean? Absolute clowns running the show. And surprise, surprise. I feel like Cilla Black. This is exactly what we've been talking about for a long time. Now, guys, thank you everyone for joining me. I hope you're doing well. Let's talk about some transfer news in regards to Man United. Now, coincidentally, I was speaking about a player yesterday called Gieso Diakite. Gieso Diakite is a Malian international who played yesterday against Tunisia. Congratulations to Mali, by the way, with 10 men, got through against Tunisia on a penalty shootout. They were playing basically the whole game with 10 men with the Sassuolo right back. Koulibaly got sent off really early on and they managed to get through. They managed to negotiate it. Fair play to them. Absolutely fantastic performance. But Gieso Diakite is one name that actually shined. And for Mali, absolutely brilliant. Now, he's a 20-year-old player. And the connection with this one is because he currently is on loan at Lausanne Sport. What's the connection with Lausanne Sport? Lausanne Sport are owned, obviously, by Ineos, Jim Ratcliffe's team. And he is currently at Lausanne Sport. He's valued at only around 3 million. He's on loan from Salzburg. Now, this brings into the question, Man United and obviously Vivell. Vivell is connected to Red Bull Group. The Red Bull Group, of course, is Salzburg and Leipzig. So any players that are from Salzburg or Leipzig, Vivell will have a hand in it because he is connected quite tightly with the Red Bull Group. Now, Gieso Diakite, for me, yesterday was the player of the match. Absolutely fantastic, brilliant performance. Guys, and he's only 20 years old. I like this player. Can play attacking midfielder, can play left wing, can play centre forward, can play left wing back as well, guys, just to let you know. So, and he played that kind of role yesterday when Mali were down to 10 men. Now, guys, this player is interesting. This is something that we can look at. Guys, obviously the AFCON's at the moment and Mali have progressed into the quarterfinals. So obviously nothing is going to be done solid until the tournament is over on the 21st of January, of course. But it is a player that we need to be, we are looking at the moment. We have scouted at the moment, and it's something very, very interesting going forward. Manchester United are looking for this type of player. This type of player that is not only what I would say talented, but young as well and cheap. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. However, it is a bit of a pill to swallow, given what I've heard yesterday. I only heard some of it this morning. I heard some of it yesterday. I didn't really catch up with the press conference, but when I heard the words and I heard the quotes from Ruben Amorim, my goodness me. I know there are some idiots out there trying to twist it and pull it on Amorim. Idiots, absolute Glazonomics, bootlickers. Guys, absolutely. Glazonomic, Glinios, bootlickers. And I would say that they are the problem as well. You know, Ruben Amorim has basically exposed the Glazers, exposed Ineos, and people are taking it to bring it on Amorim. It is absolutely disgraceful. Ineos are the problem, the Glazers are the problem, and they, you know, until they leave our football club, we're going to be in the same repetitive cycle that we've been for 20 years, sorry, guys, and a year and a half in regards to Ineos. Now, guys, look, I never thought that it will get any worse than the Glazers, but the Glazers are a bit like Go-Go Gadget Arms. Do you know what I mean? If you know what, if you know, you know. They're an extension of the Glazers. That's all they are. They're an extension of the Glazers. Go-Go Gadget Glazers. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. And I just feel disappointed. I feel disillusioned by this football club. And when I'm seeing Arsenal and I'm seeing, Man City pulling away from us and continuing to pull away from us, it does make me feel disappointed, disillusioned, angry, fed up. And I think a lot of the fan base are entitled to feel this way. Absolutely, they're entitled to feel this way. And to be honest with you, it's not on. It's not on by the way Ruben Amorim has been treated. Of course, a lot of names have been mentioned around Man United, surrounding Man United, including in January, of course, the likes of Keith Schmidt and Manu Kone. Manu Kone is one that I spoke about a couple of weeks ago, of course, and has been brought on the show a number of times. Manu Kone has a valuation of 50 million euros, but Roma will be willing to do a deal of 60 million euros, guys, in regards to a deal to Manchester United. Manchester United are heavily linked with Manu Kone, a big interest surrounding him, and apparently have been scouting him for months. And I don't think you need to scout him. We obviously know he's a very talented international player, very good player that many of us spotted a long time ago. But Manu Kone to Manchester United is a possibility, and it does represent an alternative to the narrative, to the popular narrative, which is Anderson and Baleba and Wharton and all those players there. Man United are looking at something, a backup plan, a contingency plan in regards to these players, because it's not necessary that these players are going to come to Man United. I'm talking about Anderson and Wharton and Baleba. Baleba does look like it, I would say it. He does look like he's going to be a Man United player. However, the Andersons and the Wharton, it's going to be a little bit difficult to acquire those players, absolutely. But Manu Kone is one guy, 24-year-old player that could be fit the void of that midfield, absolutely. Now, this is just the start of things to come for Man United, in my opinion. There is a lot of noises surrounding Man United, and a lot of it is not positive. And when we're talking about the manager and we're talking about the ownership, there's a lot of twists and turns that's going to happen. You can already see the wheels falling off in regards to the relationship between Ruben Amorim and Ineos. Now, guys, I would say that a lot of it's been blown out of proportion. I do think that the media have twisted things. There's no surprise and there's no absolute coincidence that Ruben Amorim is angry. Ruben Amorim is angry because he's not being backed in the transfer window. There's no surprise about that. Of course, he's going to be disgruntled. Of course, he's going to be upset. Of course, he's going to be angry. That's absolutely a given, isn't it? At the end of the day, when you're not being backed and you've got a depleted squad and you need to win football matches, and your job depends on it. Having how many young players we had the other day? We had Shear Lacey, we had Tyler Fletcher, Jack Fletcher, Mantato on the bench the other day, Fredrickson on the bench the other day. I mean, come on, guys. When you're looking at Wolverhampton Wanderers and Wolverhampton Wanderers having better players than us, I mean, goodness me, that's when you're starting to get in the realms of, wow, you know what I mean? What is going on here at this football club? Now, having said all that, Ruben Amorim has done remarkable this season, subject to popular belief. He has done remarkable this season to be only 2 points from the top four in January. And I think many people would have taken that at the beginning of the season. That's why I would say many people would have taken top four at the beginning of the season, 2 points from top four. If I said to you in January, we're going to be 2 points from top four, you would have said, take that, absolutely. Now, it does all depend on Man United, of course. Now, we've got some tough games coming up. Leeds United is no mugs. They're playing very well at the moment. But it is a big rivalry between Leeds United and Man United, and it's a rivalry that stems back centuries from the industrial period, of course. The Battle of the Roses, the hooliganism of the 70s, of course. If people know about the rivalry of Manchester United, it does stem back a very, very long time ago. And you know what? It had no love is lost between the two sides. Leeds United just hate anyone who plays in red. They've said it. They've openly said it. They hate anyone who plays in red. But Man United recently have had a great record over Leeds United. 15 years without a defeat. The only defeat was the FA Cup tie at Old Trafford, which was a 1-0 when Leeds were actually playing in League One, I think, at that time. Guys, but it is a massive game, and it's a game that I feel we can win, and I think we have to believe. There's no doubt that you have Leeds United. Leeds United have a good team. They have some good players. There's some players there that Man United were linked with, like Okafor and players like that, who Man United were linked with, and they have them in their team. They do have a team, and they have nothing to lose, Leeds United, and they will be out smelling blood against our club, of course. But it is up to Man United to be ready for that. What the team will be, I have no idea. It looks like Mason Mount is out again. I don't know what to say about Mason Mount, guys. I think that we need to move on from him. We can't keep carrying these players. It's getting ridiculous now, carrying the likes of Mason Mount and these players. We need players who are fit most of the time. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we don't need players who are fit sometimes. You know what I mean, guys? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Now, in regards to another bit of transfer news, guys, Keith Schmidt, of course, we've spoken about him many times on the channel. A little bit of an update. Manchester United have made initial approaches for Keith Schmidt. They are going to make initial approaches for many players, by the way, guys, not just Keith Schmidt, just like Carlos Baleba, guys, and obviously Said El Mala. Now, Man United are heavily admirers of Keith Schmidt, of course, has handed in a transfer request to AZ Alkmaar and wants to leave the football club. What's the key attraction for Keith Schmidt is the fact that he's only valued about 25 million euros. So Man United could possibly do a deal for that player in January, guys. So that is one to keep an eye out. And it is January, by the way, but that is one to keep an eye out and one that Man United could possibly negotiate very, very soon, guys. Very, very talented 19-year-old player, of course, guys. Absolutely. But again, there are players out there. Ayub Buyudi, of course, is still on Man United's radar. Nothing is going on at the moment in regards to that. No news is coming out in regards to Ayub Buyudi. However, Man United are scouting Buyudi. I think it's pretty evident that Buyudi is a fantastic player and a player that is going to be an absolutely generational player in the future. Players like Keith Schmidt, Rodrigo Mora, Ayub Buyudi are players that Man United could acquire. Not only acquire in summer, but they can acquire them in January. They can get these players in. And I think it's important that Man United explore and work a little bit harder in this transfer window to back Ruben Amorim. Now, if the rumours are true and Ineos are not going to back Ruben Amorim, and then they might as well sack Ruben Amorim. Ruben Amorim might as well walk, at the end of the day. I would love Ruben Amorim to walk because at the end of the day, you're leaving him with no choice, guys. Either they want him to resign or, you know what, they're going to, they just don't have any money, which I don't believe. I do believe they have money. I do believe that Ineos have money. I think they're just bluffing it. I think they're liars. I'm not going to change my stance in regards to that. I think they're disgraceful. I think they're absolute muppets. I do. I'm not going to move away from that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, guys, absolutely. Big up everyone in the stream. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome, guys. I hope everyone is blessed, guys. Big up everyone in the community. Big up blessings to the community, of course. Big up Sanjay. Hope you're doing well. Big up Benny. Hope you're doing well. Good morning, Ephraim. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you again, guys. And thank you to the legends, the regular legends, of course, my friends. Guys. Morning, Sal. How you doing, bro? Very well, Palms. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing well. Good morning, United Mandem. How you doing, brother? The Mandem Minions. How you doing, my friend? Your criticism of Alice is justified. Yesterday in her stream, she said that she would replace Amin with Kieran McKenna. She hasn't cited the book of Football Tacticals for Dummies. I think she is a co-writer of that with Flex. I think absolutely, definitely. It's like a bit like, you remember that old book, Spot the Dog, where you open it and it's got like, you move the paper, you move the things. I think I forgot what they called, and the surprise comes out. Absolute dummies at the end of the day. McKenna, fucking now, it won't last 5 minutes at this football club. My goodness me, absolutely ridiculous dummies. Honestly, dummies. They get, why they get bloody hype, don't you? Neil Ryan, what's going on? Have you a look at Radcliffe 2 years back interview? You will get the picture is all a hoax about Ineos and they keeping the Glazers still in the football club. We will get the picture is all a hoax about Ineos and for keeping the Glazers at the football club. Look, at the end of the day, I've spoken about it many, many times. I went on Qatar TV. I know the ins and outs, the nooks and crannies about the Ineos, and I know about the Qatar, and I know that Ineos blocked the path for a full sale. I know that for 100%. Some people are saying that they were never going to sell. They were never. Of course, they were going to sell. The Glazers they could not maintain this football club. They could not afford the regeneration. They could not afford another rebuild. Exactly that. And Ineos came along with a mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, quite literally, and gave them a life support machine at the same time and helped the Glazers survive at this football club. And that will never change. And they slept with the enemy. So for me, an enemy is an enemy. You sleep with the enemy, you're an enemy at the end of the day. Why have we been protesting for this last 20 years? This is exactly because of that. And that is exactly why. You know what I mean? And Ineos are an absolute disgrace. They're not competent for this football club. They're not, and the Glazers need to leave this football club. Honest to God. I'm fed up with them. We got a breed of Yanks running English football clubs, know nothing about football clubs. They call football soccer. You got a bunch of 20-year-old people from America trying to get Ruben Amorim out of my club. Nothing about football club. You never knew football existed bloody 20 years ago. And they just need to F off. I'll tell you right now, I'm tired of it. And they're trying to take away the culture of this football club, and they're trying to take away the mentality of this football club. And you know what? They're running this football club into the ground, and they need to leave the football club. And anyone who's on their back, anyone who supports them, anyone who fails to mention them, ever needs to get lost. I would say that, guys, absolutely. United Mandem, United kick out Wilcox and Barada. They are working against us and putting the blame on the manager. Exactly. We truly need a clear out of them and owners. Absolutely, United Mandem, spot on, mate. One thing is disillusion. You can have your blames on manager. You can blame managers for certain things and stuff tactically and stuff like that. But again, if you don't mention the Ineos in regards to the same sentence, that is just an agenda, and that is a sinister narrative that you have. And at the end of the day, you know what? I feel for Ruben Amorim. I do. And guys, and he's been thrown in with the Lions, man. He really has. Benny, good morning. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Guys, absolutely. It was Amorim. I simply walk away. As much as it kills me, United are absolutely doomed until we have full takeover. This won't happen until all the money dries up. No more sponsorship deals. Absolutely, my friend. Check your calendars. I'm in UAE, Roy. They're 3 hours ahead, brother. You know what I mean? That's what I would say. So the UAE timing is different. Check your schedule, mate. Do something with yourself, man. Thanks. United Mandem, people saw what Ineos have done with sports teams, yet you thought it would be good for them to take over the club. Yet they thought it would be good for them to take over the club so that it remained British owned too. What a bunch of dummies. Guys, at the end of the day, if the Glazers were Russian, if the Glazers were if the Glazers were Qatari, they would have been hounded out of this football club, what they've done at this football club. Man United are a cultural institution. They should be a listed football club and should not be touched by anyone outside of the country. However, in regards to that, we live in a democracy. We live in a very free world, and people can take loans out on the football club and use the football club's profits to pay for the loans, and that's allowed. Apparently, that's allowed to happen, and that they're allowed to bring down a football club that done so much for England, by the way, done so much for the economy. They're allowed to do that. It's ridiculous. That's the Glazers, by the way. And then you get Jim Ratcliffe, who facilitates them, and they're all in the same guys. Look, don't be surprised if these guys knew each other before. And that's what I would say at the end of the day. They probably knew each other before. Billionaires know each other at the end of the day. As fans, let us back the manager. This supported meltdown is for clicks. We need him to get us back to being good team. Absolutely. Sal, big up, Max. How you doing? I hope I'm wrong, but we won't get any transfers this window. Let's wait and see, mate. I mean, if we don't get any transfers, Max, then you know where we stand, don't you? And everyone should go against Ineos, definitely, and should call them out for what they are, like I do every single day. If they would have backed Amorim, should have backed him in the summer, knowing he needed a midfielder. Exactly. This club were always full of lies with Glazers, and now with Ineos working together. Exactly, Neil. Spot on. They're working together, two of the same evil, mate. And to be honest with you, it's exactly what you said there. Like in regards to transfers, we predicted this in the summer that we will have problems with this squad. This is exactly why I said it's a 4 out of 10 window, because I calculated everything in regards to this season up and coming. And also I calculated the AFCON. Unfortunately for Ineos, they didn't calculate the AFCON, right? I did. And I said, in December, we're going to get the AFCON. Who's going to play in that position? Who's going to do that position? And bearing in mind, there's going to be injuries as well. We're going to be in a little bit of bother. I thought about this. Ineos didn't. That's why I gave them a 4 out of 10 window. They didn't fix the midfield. The midfield is the engine of the team. They didn't do the wing backs, which is big part of Ruben Amorim's system, right? And obviously, they didn't bring any extras in defense, and they brought a goalkeeper in last minute, of course, which cost us the game against Arsenal ultimately. Can't see Anderson and Walton move in January. No, they're not going to move in January. I said this many times, Benny. Walton, of course, there was rumours about Walton giving a gentleman's agreement to Crystal Palace that he's not going to move in January. However, there was also a bit of news that Walton might move. There might be a change of heart in regards to his transfer. However, I just don't see that transfer happening. With these type of transfers, especially Adam Walton, Elliot Anderson, the wheels will be starting moving now. You'll start hearing big noises about bid goes in. Money, there's groundwork being done in regards to Walton and in regards to Anderson. Nothing is being said at the moment in regards to them. Not to say it won't happen, but at the end of the day, it looks very, very unlikely that is going to happen in January. And I've said this, I've remained very, very firm with this, that any big major signings are very unlikely in the summer. This is why Man United would be more inclined to be linked with Keith Schmidt, that type of player, and Diakite and players like that who I've mentioned today, of course, guys. Absolutely. Benny, in regards to Amorim, we said it here. He's worked miracles with his squad. Yeah, he's worked miracles with his squad. People don't really want to understand that at the moment. They just want to concentrate on their own narrative, and they just want to
mold something into a narrative which fits their narrative, to be honest with you, and that's what they do. They don't want to mention facts. They don't want to mention the actual problems at this football club. They want to mention the symptoms, but not the cause of the football club. You know what's going on at the football club in the moment. Now, look, guys, I would also clarify things are not all doom and gloom. We are 2 points from fourth place, and let me just say that as well, right? But however, we can predict and we can sense problems and dangers when there is. When you smell smoke, you know what's going on, don't you? At the end of the day, when you smell gas, you know what's going on, don't you? At the end of the day, you need to sort it out, you know, before it gets worse. And Man United are 2 points from fourth place. We're in a decent position. This is the time to say to Ruben Amorim, no toxicity, and say, Ruben, what do you need to get us in that top four? We're 2 points. How are we going to overcome that 2 points? And how are we going to get in the top four? And Ruben Amorim will obviously say, well, I need this player, I need that player, I need that, I need this. And at the end of the day, this is what they should have done. And this is what Qatar would have done. Benny, if the players think anything of Amorim, they will put in a performance for the manager. You know what I would say, Benny? You know, I would say that they would put in a performance for Amorim, but the problem is talent. We don't have the talent, mate. You can have all the running and huffing and puffing as you like. You know, if you know what I would say is that effort is a talent as well. A lot of people can pretend they're giving effort. They can show effort, but they're not really giving effort. If you know what I mean. They're trying, but they're not good enough. And I just don't think they're good enough. I really don't think they're good enough. I think some of them are physically incapable of doing what we want. I think they're physically incapable of doing what Ruben Amorim wants. And, you know, this is the problem with what I have. I've seen it for some players since 2013, 14, you know, and they're still in our football team at the moment. Do you know what I mean? And it's disgraceful. Of course, big up Stephen. Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. Big up yourself. Hope you're doing well. Incompetent owners, incompetent boards. Absolutely. Any news? Big up Ephraim. Any news? Big up Nitin. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Any news or transfers? Any good news here? I've got Diakite. We're speaking to Diakite at the moment, scouting Diakite at the moment. The Lausanne Sport player on loan at Lausanne Sport from Salzburg, of course, with Vevelle, with the Red Bull connection. RB Salzburg, obviously, and RB Leipzig. Vevelle is very connected to. Now, Giesu Diakite of Mali had a fantastic performance yesterday against Tunisia. Guys, he is playing on loan at Lausanne Sport. Lausanne Sport are Jim Ratcliffe's team. So a lot could happen in regards to that one. We'll have to wait and see. The attacking midfielder, left winger, etc., etc. Of course. Good morning, Charlie. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm waiting to hear from Jim, who just came out in support of the manager. This is all really strange to me. Is it Semenyo? Is it that Ruben is angry? I mean, Semenyo, we don't need Semenyo. We need a midfield, and number one. And we need quite a lot of players, to be honest with you. But, you know, at the end of the day, I would say in regards to Jim, they've gone very quiet. I call it radio silence because obviously you can tell a lot about quietness when people are not talking. I call it radio silence. And to be honest with you, Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos are quiet and they're not saying anything, which is damning. It can be damning. I mean, I would hope that they're out there doing transfers and they're keeping busy, but I doubt it. You know, but they have been very quiet recently. They have been very, very dim, you know, and nothing has been said, especially with Jim Ratcliffe, who does have an open big mouth, doesn't he, at the end of the day. Big up Nitu, big up my friend, all day long, my guy. Big up yourself. Why do I feel Why do I feel Villa might win the lot? Win what, mate? Villa might win the lot. Win what? They're not going to win anything, mate. Villa don't win trophies. Mr. Reneso, Sal, do you think Ratcliffe was just a homie coming through for the Glazers to save them from having to force out and to make a little money for themselves? Why? Yeah, it was a sort of a collaboration, Mr. Rene. So obviously, if Jim Ratcliffe wasn't there, they would have had to sell to Qatar or whoever came in with a full sale because the Glazers could not afford to run this football club. They couldn't afford regeneration. They couldn't afford the transfer, the rebuilding of the squad. They couldn't afford it. So they were looking to sell. And I know that 100%. They were looking to sell the football club. Now, ideally, they were looking to get an investor, right? There were no investors apart from Sir Jim, and only Sir Jim would have taken 10%. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, and you know, and paid money for it. At the end of the day, guys, only Jim would have done that. No one else would have done that. Every other serious ownership would have wanted the club fully, would have wanted the club on a full sale. No one would have taken the club and still not own the football club. Do you know what I mean? Like this, and basically become a puppet to the Glazers. That is what Jim Ratcliffe did. In regards to billionaires, Rene, so Billionaires know each other. Of course they do. I mean, they've probably known each other for years, even before the takeover situation happened. I mean, if you're one of Britain's most richest people, of course you're going to know the Glazers. The billionaire cycle is very, very small. There's only a few billionaires in this world, and a majority of them know each other, and a majority of them, sit on an island somewhere, if you know what I mean. Absolutely. Big up Ephraim. Big up Renee. So, by the way, smash and like, subscribe. Thank you so much, my friend. Big up, absolute legend. Flex got invited to Talkshite to release the bestseller Football Tacticals for Dummies book because he just likes criticizing the manager without addressing the real issues. Absolutely, man, absolutely. What is all that about? Football Tacticals for Dummies. What is all that about? If things are as bad as media, let's let it out to be. Then if we lose today, Ruben can be gone in the morning. I do not think it's as bad as it seems. If things are as bad as the media lets it out to be, then if we lose to Ruben, it is as bad until they're not backing Ruben Amorim. It's as bad as it seems, Yale. It is bad as it seems. If they don't back him, we got kids playing for our football club at the moment, Yale. It is bad, and we have to call out the owners. We do, and you have to call out the owners as well as a fan, supposedly. United Mandate, I am still going with a 3-0 win against Leeds shite because I would never predict my team to lose so that it can fit an agenda. What's all this rage bait? I mean, at the end of the day, I hope that Man United do win the game. What's all this about the tacticals for dummies, by the way, United Mandate? Let me know. United should go for 23-year-old guy, CR7, balling in the Saudi League. Benny, in our current squad, we only have realistically 5 or 6 that are good enough exactly to get us back to where it should be. Exactly that, if we're lucky. Absolutely. Sal, no manager will succeed with this owner's absolute disgraceful. They are hiding out. Absolutely. Exactly that. Clarification, isn't it? United Man, at the time I gave the summer window a 3 out of 10, but people said that I was too critical. Of goodness, you were not. Well, with that, how this season has gone, can't say that it was a shite win. I mean, at the end of the day, I had people coming on and saying it was a 7 or 8 out of 10. Absolutely disgraceful. Anyone who would say it's a 7 out of 10 when we foresaw the AFCON, we foresaw the problems at this football club, especially the problems in midfield. It's an absolute disgrace. Really, it is. It is. Good morning, Tybog. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Really good to see you. Really good to see you, Tybog. Hope you're doing blessed. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, guys, look, at the end of the day, it is a shit show. It is an absolute clownery. It is an absolute mess in regards to Manchester United at the moment. And you know what? There's lots of idiots around the football club, with big mouths, thinking they know everything, but they don't, at the end of the day. And I would say that, we have to put pressure on the owners. We have to put pressure on them. And like Ephraim said, we have to put pressure on them. We have to speak about them. We have to speak about them every day and not say that it's not as bad as it thinks, because it is as bad as it is at the moment with Ineos. It will be. Look at Ruben Amorim's team. Look at his squad. It is bad, right? It is bad. We're down to the bare bones, guys. And anyone who thinks that, goodness me, you need to do research, honest to God, before spitting that garbage. Honestly, it is bad. Tybog, when I'm thinking about what we could have had instead of Ineos, it makes me boil. We could have been in such a different situation. Can you imagine where we'd be, Tybog? No debt, no glazers, money in. I guarantee you, Tybo will be up there. We'll be up there. We'll be challenging, mate. I guarantee you that. Unfortunately, this, the virtual signalers, I won't call them virtual signalers. I'll call them that's something a lot more sinister, but I'm not going to say it. But of course, they thought they knew better, and they thought that Jim Ratcliffe, mate, born and bred, is going to be, play on the heartstrings and stuff like that. When he's actually a Chelsea fan, and the Chelsea season to get older, not even anything to do with Man United. You know what I mean? It's just the fact that he's from Manchester that he actually got the position, and he got the support from a few. Now a lot of these people, of course, need to be called out. Of course they do, in regards to the people who supported Ineos, and because it's something that we spoke about many, many times, and we sound like a broken record in regards to it. Now, I've always given them a chance. I've always said that, you know what, I'm going to see what they can do. Let's see what they can do with the football club. Hopefully they succeed, because at the end of the day, if they succeed, Man United succeed at the end of the day, and that is, let me clarify what I want: Man United to succeed. Right. However, as time has gone on, I have realized and again, doubled down on the fact that they are not good for Manchester United. I knew that before. This is why I campaigned against them. But a part of me just thought, okay, let's see what they do. I might be wrong. Let's see. I'm not wrong. And I wasn't wrong. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, Big up Sal, we have a January window where we need a CM, and all we're getting is Amram looking distraught that he won't get it, and now all of a sudden reports that he's having fallout with Wilcox. He would fall out. Let me just say something about LT, about Wilcox. You know, I wouldn't say it's like a clash, but at the end of the day, guys, I wouldn't say it's a clash. What I would say is like they have a disagreement, obviously, because they need players. And what I would say and what I would clarify is that the reason that the Glazers have so many connections, right? They basically have like Wilcox and Jim Ratcliffe and Vivell and Barada, is so that the attention is taken away for the Glazers. Let's not forget that the Glazers sign those checks, right? They sign those checks. So obviously, if Wilcox and Ruben Amram have a conversation and Wilcox is like, we can't get this player, we can't afford this player, obviously Ruben Amram is going to be angry with Wilcox. But ultimately, the biggest problem is the Glazers, because the Glazers are the ones that sign the checks. So obviously, Ruben Amram is not going to be speaking to the Glazers. He's going to be speaking to Wilcox, he's speaking to Vivell, he's speaking to Jim. Now, obviously, the biggest problem at Man United is the Glazers. And Ruben Amram doesn't have a direct line to the Glazers. You know, so he's not going to be speaking to Glazers what's going on, because they sign the checks ultimately, right? And this is why we wanted the Glazers out. This is why we wanted Qatar and we wanted a full sale, because we wanted to cut out all those people, or too many chefs spoil the brew. Of course, guys, we wanted to cut that out. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, Ineos came in. And I actually do think that part of me feels that Ineos are starting to think, oh, this is difficult, you know? Neil, I don't think Glazers will knowingly, with Ineos back in, they are trying to redevelop it in around Manchester with a new stadium in the pipeline. We are doomed. United is doomed. Big up, Neil. Hope not, my brother. Hope not. Big up yourself. United man them. Sal, it's commendable that you have built a channel for real United fans that always see the issues in the club and call it out, instead of having thousands of Ineos bootlickers. That, I mean, at the end of the day, thank you so much, United man them. Big up. And the man them minions out there who feed into the Ineos machine, of course, and the Glazers. They don't even mention them, of course. You know, Tacticos for dummies, like you said, you know, football for dummies, which is flex, of course. But, you know, there are a lot of idiots at the end of the day, you know, and I just want to bring a bit of sanity, a bit of, you know, context to what's going on, you know, because it's very easy to just attack the manager. It's very easy to attack the manager. I'm not coming out here saying Ruben Amram is the tactical genius, he's the oracle of football, he's never going to be touched. I'm not saying that, absolutely not, far from it. But what I am saying is that no manager who's going to come into this football club will succeed or get to their full potential because of these ownerships, because of these Glazers, because of these leeches, this Ineos, who facilitated the Glazers, by the way, and gave them a life support machine. We were waiting 20 years, guys, for someone to come in and say, we want to buy the football club. You know, we were waiting 20 years. And on comes Jim Ratcliffe to spoil that for Man United. And people need to understand that. People need to realize that they spoiled it. Jim Ratcliffe got in the way of a full sale Man United. Jim Ratcliffe got in the way of a successful Man United. That's what he did at the end of the day. Guys, Jim Ratcliffe's model of owning a football club is an ancient prehistoric model. That's what it is, guys. And it's a model that doesn't work anymore. Guys, you're dealing with monsters these days, right? You're dealing with teams that have big owners, with billionaires, with long pockets, guys. They don't care about spending money. Newcastle's owners, once Newcastle start getting better and more known around the world, and their PSR and their FFP starts increasing, watch Newcastle start spending some money. And then you're going to see, you know what I mean? Look at Chelsea, can endless spend money, what they want, you know, at the end of the day. We've got the worst owners in the world. Did these people want Amram to be content with the Glenios, Wilcox and Barada move? Because he is clearly trying to build a solid United, and all they do is holding Amram back. All they're doing is falling for the same old trick, mate. At the end of the day, all they want to do is blame tactics. You know, at the end of the day, all they want to do is blame 4 at the back, 3 at the back. That's all they could talk about is 4 at the back, 3 at the back. That's the only narrative they could talk about is this. You know what I mean? Because they're going to lose their VIP passes. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. Tyborg. A lot of our very own fans supported this crazy. This thing, people were screaming human rights, but had no problems with Americans who terrorizing the world for decades. Stupidity and naivety. Absolutely. There you go, Tyborg. Absolutely spot on, mate. The causes, majority of the causes, 90% of the world is from them, and nothing is being said about them. In fact, they host World Cups, 2 World Cups in the last 40 years, 30 years. More than England, by the way, who invented the bloody sport. Can you imagine that America hosting a Super Bowl once in 50 years, 60 years? Unheard of, isn't it, at the end of the day, guys? Absolutely. But yeah, absolutely. Virtual signaling, politics and all that came into it, you know, and kind of ruined it for Man United. Kind of gave Jim Ratcliffe a little bit of a boost. He should have been hounded away from Man United. He should have been said, do not touch Man United. You do not go near Man United. Chelsea rejected his offer, guys, of 4 billion. And people forget that. People forget, where's that 4 billion gone? Let's not forget that, guys. Chelsea rejected 4 billion for Jim Ratcliffe. They did not want him. And that just goes to show you everything. The old season ticket holder. Absolutely. Big up, Scott. How you doing, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're blessed. Good to see you. Big up, Wesley. Hope you're doing well. Good morning, Sal. Big up you, mate. Big up yourself. Why are we still signing anyone? We are in 4 days already. We got until the 25th or something like that, of January, I believe. So 21st of January, something like that. We'll have to wait and see. Scott, Sal, this is crazy, this whole Glinios deal. They have turned on their own pick. What did they think he would do? Lay down and just lose his reputation over this crap? What a shame they have done. Absolutely, Scott, spot on. Couldn't have said it better myself, my guy. Absolutely, absolute embarrassment, disgraceful. I mean, all the words that I could possibly say right now, I'm absolutely fuming. I could say a lot of things about them, but I would probably lose my channel if I said any of them, the things that are running through my mind at the moment. But what I would say is that this is typical and triples down on what I've been saying for the summer. And unfortunately, there are a lot of the so-called fans who are feeding into their narrative. They're enjoying this. They're enjoying the fact that Ruben Amorim is going through this because they don't like Ruben Amorim for whatever they are. Maybe they're ugly and they're jealous. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I don't know. But, they're enjoying this. And I don't agree with it. And I wish they would go with the Glazers and Ineos, to be honest with you. I really do at the end of the day. Sal, it looks like to me that Wilcox and Verville are in charge of buying players. Amorim has no say. He has a say, but his say is not the gospel. He has a say. He basically what it will be like, oh, okay, Ruben, we got a player for you. We got this player for you. What do you think about this player? Do you like this player, etc., etc.? Ruben will say, I'm not feeling that one. It goes to an adjudicator of people. It's not just Ruben. Ruben's one person. With Ravel, with Jim, with Wilcox, with Barada. It's one person in that entity. And what we have to remember is that Wilcox, Barada, Ravel, Jim, they're all one. They're all one, and they're all going to agree with each other. So ultimately, Ruben's opinion don't really matter like that much, does it? I don't think Ruben is very, very, very powerful in the way what he can say. He has an opinion, but his opinion isn't the gospel. That is the fact, right? His opinion isn't the gospel. He has an opinion, but they're not going to, ultimately, if they don't agree with it, it's not going to happen. If they don't agree with Ruben Amorim, it's not going to happen. And that's precisely what it is at the end of the day, because he doesn't have much of a voice. I do think that, Ruben Amorim is being pushed to a side, and I do believe that they are trying to override him. I think there is a little bit, I've said it many, many times about too many cooks and chefs in the kitchen. There is too many chefs in the kitchen. There's too many people there making decisions. But this is precisely what the Glazers did. This is clever from the Glazers. They've got all these, and Jim, by the way. Jim has got an extension. So he's got the Ravel, Barada, and Wilcox and stuff like that, who can take all the blame and take all the heat off Jim and take all the heat off the Glazers. Clever. It's clever, isn't it? At the end of the day, people are falling for it. People are blaming Wilcox. People blame Barada. People blame Ravel. People blame Ruben. They're not blaming Jim. They're not blaming the Glazers. That's exactly how they like it. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day. LT, some fans thought that Ineos would change the culture of not buying players in January, but here we are, and still same problem. You let the manager remove bad apples, but you don't give him the replacements. Exactly that. And this is what's going to happen, guys. Ruben Amorim has fixed a lot at this football club. And my feeling about what Ineos wanted to do, this was the narrative that they wanted to do when they came into this football club. Firstly, they wanted to clear off the rubble. They wanted to fix the culture. They wanted to fix everything around this football club, the stadium, the culture, the dead apples, the bad apples, whatever it is. And Ruben was doing that, right? And obviously, the team were going to suffer during that season, which is why we came 15th and lost the Europa League final. The next season was supposed to be backing season. This was Ineos' turn. This was their turn to show us that they care about the football club and they care about what happens on the pitch. This is what it was, guys. It was their chance to show us, to prove to us, to slap me in the face with a wet salmon. That is what it was supposed to be, guys. Unfortunately, they've done exactly what the Glazers do. Exactly that, Sal, Americans do not know nothing about football, and so-called Ratcliffe, lifelong United fan, absolutely, because Ratcliffe knows nothing about football as well. He knows absolutely dog shit about football. At the end of the day, when you think about Jim Ratcliffe, there's no pictures, no evidence of him being a Man United fan. There's no evidence of being a football fan. You know what I mean? He bought a Chelsea season ticket holder, probably so he can sit there and eating the caviar in the bloody VIP. That's it, in London. And that is all of what it is at the end of the day. Scott, when all this comes out, when the bullshit is over, we will hear the real story, and it will be when the non-disclosure is over, and we'll see how crap this was. You know, this is the biggest problem, Scott, about non-disclosure agreements and stuff like that, is that, you know, if Ruben Amorim did leave his football club, he's not allowed to say anything. It's a bit like what Jose Mourinho happened with Jose Mourinho. He weren't allowed to say anything, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I do believe that some of these non-disclosure agreements, they go on for years and years and years, you know, and I would like, this is why I would love Ruben Amorim to walk away in the sunset and just expose the Glazers, expose Ineos. You know, I would love him to do that. It would be deemed a legend. You know what I mean? If Ruben Amorim walked away right now, you know what I mean, not taking that big payment, he'll be more of a legend than any player at that football club right now. He'd be more of a legend than anyone at that football club right now. Right now. He'd be more of a legend than anyone. He'll walk away a legend, build a statue. Absolutely. If he left and he called out the Glazers, and he called out Ineos, and he exposed them for what they are, fair play. I would love him to do that. You know, apparently a few months ago, I think a year ago, he was actually thinking about it. But, you know, obviously when you're thinking about 20 million odd, which you will get, you know, it's hard to turn away from 20 million. You know, it's easy said than done, isn't it? Sal, sorry for saying this, but we're not going to win the game today. It's either a draw or lose. Not what I am negative, but, you know, our curse, it will get a chance to go. I'm not going to be pessimistic, Wesley. I know you're pessimistic sometimes, but I think we'll win the game today. I'm not going to be predicting that we're not going to win the game today. That doesn't help anybody. At the end of the day, Man United have beaten big teams today, and I just want us to be a little bit more zealous in regards to the football match and back Ruben Amorim. We're going to win the game today. Don't worry about that. You're not an oracle of football. Stop being negative, mate. You are being negative. You know what I mean? We have to be positive for today's game, and we can't be just saying, "Oh, we're going to lose the game." We're Man United. We're not going to lose the game. And even if you feel like we're going to lose the game, don't say that we're going to lose the game, because at the end of the day, the game has not started. We don't know what's going to happen. Let's wait and see, and let's support our football team and hope we win today. Absolutely. You know what? We would be great if the Cristiano and the Saudis friends would come to. You know who I would love, Scott? I would love David Beckham. I would love Roy Keane. Two players that I would love at Man United is David Beckham and Eric Cantona. Number one, absolutely, that'd be brilliant. Cristiano Ronaldo would be absolutely brilliant. He'll fix the standards, definitely. I would love that at Man United, definitely. I apologize if not subscribing early, as you've been on YouTube for years. However, better late than sorry. Big up, my friend. I've learned a lot of things since joining, and I can truly see you want United to prosper. Thank you so much, United, man. Of course I do. And it frustrates me, you know what I mean? The tacticals for dummies people, of course, you know, and those people who benefit from the club, you know, have big platforms given to them, by the way, from other people, you know, and they just splurt garbage at the end of the day. We all know that TalkSport and stuff like that, and ESPN FC and Sky Sports are not against Man United. We know that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I have no interest in people who have agendas, and that includes Paul Scholes, that includes Nicky Butt. I don't have an interest of Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes sitting on a panel with a Leeds United fan talking about Man United in a bad light. I mean, and not knowing their facts, to be honest with you. The only smart person to come out of Man United in regards to the ex-pros is David Beckham. He's the only educated one. The rest of them are dummies. They're like, you basically got Fred Flintstone talking about football, basically. But thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'm going to continue spitting the truth, regardless what it is. I will continue, calling out the problems that really matter, not just the symptoms. I will call out the biggest problems. And thank you so much, my friend. Benny, the problem, when managers leave clubs, they have a disclosure agreement when they can't speak to the media for a certain amount of time. Yeah, Benny, Ruben Amorim will have a disclosure agreement. Unless Ruben Amorim resigns at his own accord and doesn't take that 20 odd, 30 odd million, then he can say whatever he wants about the Glazers. However, if he gets sacked and he wants to take that 20 million, they're going to make him sign a disclosure agreement. If he says, I'm leaving right now, I do what I want, and not signing any contract, he can say whatever he wants. You know, and I actually think that would be absolutely incredible if Ruben Amorim actually did that. I think it would be such a good thing. We need that. We need someone to call them out. LT, we had the most disappointing summer, especially looking at the important it was, and we were also promised that these will be revised in January. Exactly that. There you go. But now we want to sign players, the right players. Exactly that. People forget that. You know what? We will revise this in January. We will revisit this in January. We will look at players in January. We'll finish some deals in January. Let's not forget what we were saying back then as well about the January transfer window. Let's not forget about those old chestnuts as well, because a lot of people conveniently will forget what they said in the summer, of course, about January, you know? Wesley, They say it was all, but we're going for Xavi and Baleba. Is that true? Xavi, I mean, got scored by Eric Ten Hag. I don't know why we're talking about him. United, yes, Bex and Keane should be part of it since they know United identify won't be here for the. And you know what? Bex is actually Beckham. Let me just say something about David Beckham. He's got more brains in his head than all of those pundits, ex-pros put together. Let me tell you that right now. David Beckham has built an absolute massive football club in Miami FC. Guys, and he's absolutely smashed it. Now that's why he is an MBE. It's Sir David Beckham, isn't it? At the end of the day, not Sir Paul Scholes, not Sir Nicky Butt. It's Sir David Beckham because obviously he's got a brain. And the one thing about David Beckham is when he speaks about Ruben Amorim, he speaks about the football club. He actually speaks with logic. He actually speaks with sense. And I've looked at him, typical Leytonstone lad, of course. Where else would he be from? Of course, guys. Tyborg. Sir Jim has money, but he won't spend it in a project where he is only a minority owner. But then he should have taken charge of the football club then, because at the end of the day, that just clarifies to me that he's not a Man United sport. Because at the end of the day, let me tell you something, Tybo. If he was Manchester United born and bred, right, he loves this football club, right? Wouldn't you want to spend? He's got so much money. He's a multi-billionaire. Wouldn't you want to spend on the squad? Wouldn't you want to bring in the best players for Man United? Wouldn't you want them to see? Because let me tell you something, right? If I was a multi-billionaire, right? I'm old. I'm 68. Imagine I was 68 years old like Jim Ratcliffe, right? And I was a multi-billionaire. I thought, what am I going to do? My kids are grown up, everything. You know what I mean? I've got no one there, no siblings, whatever, blah, blah, blah. What am I going to do? I'm going to spend it on Man United. And I'm going to say, okay, what would it take to get this player? What would it take to get that player? How much was he going to be? Yeah, get him. I'll pay for it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. Because I'm meant to be born and bred. I'm meant to be a Man United season ticket for life, but never been evidence of him ever being a Man United season ticket holder. So if you were actually a Man United fan, wouldn't you think that you came into this? And I think this is what people thought, that he was going to come into this club and he supports the club and he loves the club and he's going to splash money on the club and help the club. Absolutely far from the truth. And we knew that. We spoke to Nice fans. We spoke to Lausanne. We spoke to Ineos people, representatives. We know all about Jim Ratcliffe. We know all about who he is at the end of the day. And we know what he's all about. Disgraceful. And if you support the club, you would have spent your own money in fixing the club. This is a club you love, right? At the end of the day, this is a club you love. And what is also important here is what we have to clarify, Tybo, is that if Man United's successful, he gets money too. Share prices go up. He'll get money too, I'm no expert on bloody finances and shares and stuff like that. But if Man United's successful, Man United winning trophies and titles, you know what happens, don't you? Man United become more valuable. His asset becomes more valuable. You know what I mean? His share becomes more valuable. You know what I mean? And that's exactly right. But good morning, Garrett. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Have a blessed day to you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. And nothing but a win today. Glory, Man United. Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. Big up yourself, Garrett. Hope you're doing well. Another manager won't change anything, Sal. Absolutely not. We need to win today, and Liverpool lose today will make my weekend. Liverpool playing today? Yeah. Hopefully, Liverpool drop points. Another manager won't change anything. I agree with Garrett there. Absolutely. Sal, even Ratcliffe is a full honour. I do not think they're going. No, he won't change because that's who he is. That's his mentality at the end of the day, guys. Absolutely. Big up, get Sam Madders. What's going on, Madders? How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. I won't cry for a new manager until there's an entirely new ownership. Same cycle for past 12 years. Repetitive cycle, isn't it, Madders? Absolutely, repetitive cycle, and the same shit is going to happen over and over again. And you know what? People are falling for that old nonsense. Big up, Phil. What's going on? I hope you're well. I understand your opinion on McKenna, but I remember he was head coach of United under Ole. We played very well when he left. That was the start of Ole's downfall. But managing Man United is a completely different kettle of fish than managing the reserves of Man United and the youth team of Man United. He done okay at Ipswich, I suppose. But at the end of the day, I don't think Man United. Let me tell you, who Man United need, Phil. They need a proper leader. Kieran McKenna looks passive. He looks weak. He doesn't come across as a leader. He doesn't come across as inspiring. Look at him. He's not inspiring at all. He's very passive. I would say the only people that can come into Man, and that's no disrespect to McKenna. He's a great championship manager, a great, probably mid-table Premier League manager. But when it comes to Man United need an absolute animal to take charge of Man United right now. Animal. Look how hard it is for Ruben Amorim. You think that Kieran McKenna will go to Sporting and rebuild Sporting? What he did. Make him unbeaten in the Champions League. What he did. You know what I mean? This is Ruben Amorim, the best young manager in Europe. He was touted by all the biggest clubs in Europe. And look what's happened to him. Imagine what's going to happen to Kieran McKenna. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Kieran McKenna were bad news. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer played counter-attacking football in a COVID season. There was no one in the crowd. There was no pressure on Man United, and we came 20-odd points behind Man City anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Fair play to Kieran McKenna, but he will fail at Man United. He will fail, and he won't be long. Just like I think that the manager of Chelsea is going to fail. Handling egos is completely different. You know what I mean? Handling what's going on at Man United. It's not only what goes on the pitch at the moment, it's the off-field issues as well. They almost destroyed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's never been the same, guys. And I love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Benny, speaking about Beckham, have you heard Gabba's latest? Saka is better all-round player than Beckham. How many assists has Saka got this season? Take away his free kicks and his cross. Gabby Abonaho just needs to go and retire, mate. At the end of the day, his claim to fame was giving the ball away for Man United against Aston Villa when Rooney kicked a long ball to Robin Van Persie. Robin Van Persie scored one of the greatest goals of all time, which clinches the title. That is Gabby Abonaho's claim to fame. You know what I mean? Helping Man United, giving the ball away to contribute towards one of our greatest ever goals of all time. That is beyond a greatest ever moment, in my opinion. You know what I mean? He has no one to talk about Man United at the end of the day. Sal, why is it so quiet about the takeover? Will it still happen? And I think we should go for a at the moment. You know what the biggest problem is, Wesley, is that the Glazers knock any enthusiasm out in regards to takeover processes and stuff like that. They love hanging around Man United. They love milking Man United. They don't care. We want Glazers out. Say we want Glazers out. It's not going to do anything. The only way that Man United are ever going to remove the Glazers if they boycott the football club, if they cancel their season tickets, if they stop games from being played. That is the only way it's going to happen. If the Glazers, and we seem like a broken record. We've been speaking about this kind of thing for years and years and years, but it never happens. And this is the thing, of course, absolutely. But also, if it's the final fiasco that it exposes the deadline Glazers and now Ineos as well, who would even want to come forward to buy it without the club absolutely taking itself for years? We are stuck, bro. Big up, Renee. So you know what I would do if anyone, and my advice would be to any manager who walks into this football club, I would say, number one, sign a pre-contract. Say that I am entitled to this much transfers. I am entitled to this much spent. That's what they should do. If I was coming into Man United, I'll say, right, I want a transfer, right? I want a transfer contract that I am entitled to this amount of money to spend. You know what I mean? Under wraps, but you know what I mean? Something like that. Because I don't trust what you're doing at the moment. I can't come into this football club if you're going to give me these players because I don't think these players are good enough. So I want a guarantee that I can get rid of these players that have been there for years and flattered to deceive. And I want a guarantee that Man United are going to spend that much money. And I want it in writing. I want it contracted. That's what I would do, you know, LT. Ray Naso. LT. What I don't get is that we are going to head at least 2 CMs. We are going to need at least 2 TMs or even more, depending on who we are replacing. And money is there. So why don't we get at least one to solidify Europe? And because they are absolutely incompetent. They don't want to spend any money, mate. They actually think that Man United can actually get into Europe with this squad. You know, we're playing Jack Fletcher in midfield at the end of the day, who's unproven, guys. He's only playing because of his dad. Absolutely. Guys, absolutely. Guys, what you want about, mate? David Beckham's a legend, more of a legend than you will ever be, mate. So be quiet, man. Absolutely idiot. What you're talking about. Guys, he's a legend, mate. He built bloody Inter Miami. He's done more for football than bloody what Jim Ratcliffe has done, hasn't he? McKenna, no thanks. Keep him where he is, not United level. Got Ipswich relegated. Absolutely, Geordie. Don't want any projects anymore, guys. A big up, Mandem. I saw a valid comment that someone had asked with the United fan base, especially the ones calling out for Amra Sakin. Be confident and trust that Glinius will be able to sign a better replacement. Let them. What I would say, United Mandem, let them go out and sign a better replacement. Let's see where we are in a year's time. You know what I mean? I guarantee we'll be here talking about the same thing at the end of the day. Scott, we need to stay positive as a fan base. I watched this manager for a while before he got here. He is not garbage. He is cemented in these ways and players. He needs to be successful. I agree with this, Scott. I agree with this. It's not down to us. It's not down to me. It's not down to you. It's down to the people surrounding him and the noise, the big mouths, the Mandem minions, the everything. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's down to them. You know what I mean? And the ownership as well, if they stay firm, you know? So our owners a manager who they control. Exactly that. They want someone they control. Why are we even mentioning Bono? He is such a co-author of the football big tacticals for dummies. Absolutely. Guys, big up everyone. I want to say thank you to everyone who continues to. What's your score for today, mate? 2-1 to United, Geordie. Big up, Geordie. Guys, thank you, everyone. I really appreciate everyone in the stream. You absolute legends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We'll be back later on, guys, for the watch along between Leeds United and Man United. Massive game, of course, guys. Don't forget to join me for that. Also, don't forget to put your notifications on in case I do go live as well, guys, later on. Of course, guys, with anything else. But guys, I want to thank everyone for supporting the channel again. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to smash the likes. Get to 50 likes if we could do that, guys. And have a great day, guys. Absolutely. LT, it's the same. It's the same as Terry saying Amram should go, but at the same time saying that he already doesn't think the next manager will take us to the top. Contradictions. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, big up LT. Contradictions. Guys, thank you. Much love to you all. See you later. Don't forget to join me for that, guys. I will, really, really important. You join me for the watch along. We need to have a therapy, guys. That's what we need. Big up, Geordie, absolute legend. You're a legend. And big up, Tyborg, my guy, of course. I'm sure Amram has something in his contract that would prevent him going against the owners. It probably is already. Yeah, there is. Obviously, they're protecting themselves. Why is that? They've obviously got something to hide. Take it easy, guys. See you later on for the match. See you soon. Bye-bye.